Hey, Muluvinaka, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transformational Talk. Tonight, we'd like to share with you on the theme human connection. Very important theme, and this theme speaks to us as individuals, especially in this time of crisis. Without human connection, I don't think we'll function. Without human connection, we'll be isolated. And one thing this particular disease or this virus, COVID-19, has done is isolate people, is divide people, divide families. But I'd like to bring us back to focus that we as a race, as a species, we have survived when we have stood side by side, when we have stood to support each other through the thick and the thins and the challenges of life. You know, we as Christians say that we have a connection with God, and you may claim the same, to have a strong connection with God. But I'd like to submit to you tonight that if your human connection is broken, it's in tatters, then there's something wrong with our God connection. There is something drastically wrong. It doesn't match, because our God connection will only be proved, it'll only be evidenced by our connection with those beside us, our fellow human beings. And so on that important subject, I'd like to focus my talk on tonight, because your perception, my perception of all humanity will be filtered through the health of the relationships you and I have in our lives. What is this ingredient that makes it possible for a person to have deep and meaningful relationships? What is that secret ingredient? Tonight, 1 Thessalonians 5:11, the great apostle Paul says these words as he encourages the church in Thessalonica during the times of trials and hardships and crisis. He said these very profound words. He said, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. In that sentence, in that statement, he encourages them thoroughly. You know, usually we would encourage, and at the end of it, we put something that's contrary to the encouragement we just gave earlier. But Paul doesn't do that. He could have said, you know, encourage one another and build each other up because you're currently not doing that. No, he didn't say that. He went ahead and said, you know, you are doing that. What I'm asking you to do, you are already doing it. But this is what I'd like to suggest. This is what I'd like to put forward to you. There's always a next level. There's always room for improvement. Because in the days ahead, after this particular crisis, there'll be other crises, other challenges that will come our way. Through this crisis, we build resilience by learning from our mistakes, learning from our weaknesses, learning from where we dropped the ball, and we prepare ourselves and ready ourselves to face the next challenge better prepared, in a better state of mind, so that when it comes, we are resilient to bounce back better than we've ever had before. This is an opportunity to become better versions of ourselves. That is what Paul is telling the church in Thessalonica. And I'd like to present that to us as well. Paul is also talking to us in the middle of this crisis, that we have this opportunity. We're doing well so far. We've come this far. I mean, none of us have lived through a pandemic before. We haven't been this way before. And so what we've done so far, we're doing well. In hindsight, we may have a lot of things to say that we could have done this or we could have done that. But when we're in the current situation that we're in right now, Paul is talking to us. He says, you're doing well, but you have room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to prepare yourself for the next level. There's always room to do better. I want to give you one of the secret ingredients to community, to forging belonging, forging lifelong friendship, and making the human connection possible. What is the secret, you may be asking? The secret is one word, and the word is encouragement. This word encouragement simply means to put courage into someone. And there's no better example in the last few weeks, the last few months when this outbreak happened than our first responders the world over, those who are in the front lines. My goodness, I have always sat in front of the TV set or the news feed and just watch them in amazement go about doing their work. And I truly can say that it's not a career, it's a vocation, it's a calling. Because our first responders, doctors, nurses, health workers, the police, the army, and others involved in the front lines, they have risked their lives. They have placed themselves in the front lines exposing themselves to this threat. And they're there doing a marvelous job. We can't thank you enough. But we're so thankful that you are where you are in the calling that you have been called and the purpose to which you have been placed here on earth. And that is to be in the front lines, protecting us and helping us through these tough times. You have done exactly this, and that is putting courage into people. When we see you at work, we ourselves receive courage. We are induced with a new lease of courage. When we're feeling hopeless and isolated, you are there. Just your smiles gives us courage. There's something about COVID-19 that it separates people, as I said earlier, that people go into isolation. And if they do pass on, they die alone. And it's something that we're not used to as a species because we're used to sending our loved ones off dignified in all the ceremonies in different cultures. But this particular one is the great leveler in that rich or poor, you die alone when you die by this virus. And who's there to see them off? It's our first responders, giving them that smile that they so long for from a loved one. They are there to induce courage into someone who's lonely, who's isolated, feeling betrayed, wondering what they could have done better. But our first responders are there. And so tonight, I'd like to encourage each and every one of us. We have room to improve. First responders, if you're feeling discouraged, feeling alone, and you think no one cares, and maybe we in the public have not done what we should have done to reduce this, or forgive us, I'd like to encourage everyone to continue to pray for our first responders, that God will protect them, supply their needs, and return them safely to their loved ones. And for us, that we continue to adhere to the rules laid down, the washing of hands with soap and water, the physical distancing. Only leave your home if it's necessary. Protect yourself and your family, and protect our nation and our globe. And in so doing, we're not taking our first responders for granted. We're helping them do their jobs. So I hope tonight I have given you something to take away, so that in the week ahead, you will purpose in your heart that you will induce courage into someone. You will share courage that will lift a person's morale, that will lift a person's faith, because you and I need each other to survive this pandemic. We are not an island to be isolated. We as human beings, we stand together. And so thank you for availing your precious time and giving attention to this transformational talk. My desire is that you take away something with you that will help you get through this, whether you're in lockdown or outside the boundaries of lockdown. We're all in this together. We will get through this. We will get on top of this pandemic. It's only a matter of time. Keep trusting God. Keep the faith, standing strong till the next time. God bless. Vinaravoalevo.